And hello, and welcome to AleksConnects Creative Sandbox. My name is Alex, and let's continue our Fanart project, Angry Birds vs Transformers. Okay, let's start. So previously, for the most part, we worked on finding the right values for this illustration. Today, I think we did a pretty good job. It does. Again, ideally, I would want for these to have a little more contrast in values, but again, as I said before, unfortunately, this is the compromise that I came up with. I can't change that much, because if I'm going to make again floor darker, it's going to kill the bomb. If I'm going to make it lighter, it's going to kill Chuck. So that way I'm kind of compromised and actually decided to go with red. So and red is going to be a little bit darker, and again, since he's going to have a red color, which is going to be the most striking color in this illustration, because red is always the color that strikes first, that kind of, I hope, will make things a little bit easier in terms of the read. So I'm not going to bother that much in values anymore. So since we kind of break down values pretty good, now it's time to actually work with colors. So I already established our base colors. So again, this sketch, or I don't know, a value plan, yeah, let's call it value plan, was basically created starting from colors. So I knew what type of colors these characters need to represent. Again, the reason why it's strict and I can't change this, because we are working with characters that already exist. So we're not creating something on our own. That's why we can already have some type of a guidelines. So these characters already have the particular colors, and these colors, they are actually make them unique. So we can't paint them in different colors. So that's like the first reason behind why I started with colors and now made values that's appropriate for these colors. So yeah, and now it's time to actually figure out the colors for everything else. I guess this session is basically going to be that. I'm going to try to actually finish our color planning. We have about an hour to do it. Yeah, let's just right away start with colors. So again, since I don't have that much experience working with colors, the only thing that I have is just knowledge, which I want to learn how to finally put into practice. Like, there's no particular like rules when it comes to colors. There are some things like these schemes, color schemes, which will work with complementary colors, like the triadic thing, or I don't know, analogous, which usually pretty close to each other. There's a lot of variations of complementaries, double complementaries, split complementaries, when you have one color and you have right here two. So there's a lot of theory behind these color schemes. Ideally, I would want to use them, but I don't know. I think I will just go with something that I'm going to feel, and something that's just going to create the better contrast. And by the way, all these schemes, they are for the most part was created because they actually create good contrasts. Because again, when we're talking about contrast, these are the polar opposites, and because they're polar opposites, they create the most striking, or the most, I don't know how to properly put it, so they just differ two colors. The same goes for warm and cool. These are just complementaries. Yeah, by the way, in terms of the warm and cool, we need to turn on our where it is. Okay, this is information that we discovered about light sources. We're definitely going to use this a little bit later, but for now, again, question with colors. I think I'm going to put all colors in one layer, or I don't know. No, for now, let's just I'm going to put them on one layer. It's going to be a long time. I'm going to paint. No, we need to create them. No, actually we need to create them on this layer, because we're going to constantly check if we are actually right in values. Because now, since we already know these values, we can't make these values different. These values need to be the same in black and white. So every color that we're going to choose needs to represent this value. So it's definitely going to be a pretty hard thing to do. So this way is actually when you're working from values to colors. So right here I kind of made the opposite thing, because these characters were with predetermined colors, and these colors were created because of these. So now when we're going to work with these colors, we actually need to go the opposite way, from values to colors. This is actually pretty cool, because I wanted to try to do this, and I actually thought that we're not going to do that at all, but I guess we have to, which is awesome, because I'm going to figure out this finally, and that way I will learn how to work with from colors to values and from values to colors, so both ways. And of course, if you have experience with working with both ways, it's always a good thing, basically. So come on, man, focus in. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so right now actually in Russia probably 3 a.m. again. Last 2 days I'm starting streams super late. Today's magic stream MTG study was super long. I kind of got a pretty severe headache during the stream. And I still have one, didn't pass off still, and that's why this session is going to be pretty short. Okay, so colors. So again, when you're working from values to colors, again, I can't change these values. These values have to stay the same, because we already determined that these values, this is our constant in this work, or in this illustration, and we need to keep this constant. I don't know. So let's try. So first thing that I definitely want to, so these colors for the most part are warm. Yes, they represent the warm part of the color wheel. That means that we need to choose something cooler for the surroundings. Again, we are working with creating a contrast, and these characters will look even better, they will look even warmer if they are going to be surrounded with cool colors. That means that whatever color I'm going to choose, this color needs to be in this area, in this cool area. Okay, this one still considers warm, and then we're probably going into cool. So yeah, this is probably a cool color already. Same goes for this one. This one seems so this one definitely warm, and the further it goes here, the cooler it gets. So this is definitely probably could get cool. So I think the separation of this particular color wheel in Krita, it's, I don't know, maybe it's actually like this. No, this actually seems, either way. So I have the range of hues already represented in here. That means that for the floor we definitely need to choose something complementary, because again it will create the better contrast, which is the whole point in this area. Okay, now again, this color is going to be super muted. I'm not going to make this color super vivid, because I don't think that it needs to be vivid. It's going to look bad. Now let's just put down saturation. So again, as I said before, here's the problem. We chose 25 value, we put saturation to the highest, and created this thing. Whoa. What's happening? Oh. Actually, now we got a change in everything. And if we're going to make this black and white, this value is super dark. So again, working from values to colors is a little bit harder, because now we have a lot of things to control. So let's see what's going to work. Again, I'm going to stay in the grayish tones because I think I need to. But there's still going to be a pigment of blue. I think we need to make it a little bit darker. Let's try this one. And let's hope it's going to work in values. Okay, this is too light. Need to be a little bit darker. So working with colors, it's kind of it's better to work with lightness and with lightness slider. As I said before, lightness slider is basically working with tint, which is the saturation thing, and working with value, which is this slider, or just work with value and saturation. I'm actually want to learn to work only with this slider. So again, if I want to make things darker, I'm going here. If I want to make things wider or lighter, I'm going here. This way I'm not confusing myself with these two sliders, so I either could go one way or the other. Because the problem here, if you're going to go here and here, oh, actually we can. Interesting. Yeah, this is kind of a little bit confusing. Okay, let's just think how to properly work with it, though. Again, if I'm going to work only with this slider, I can go only from one point to the other point. So I'm working only like this, so I can't achieve middle results. And we definitely need results in this area, because usually we don't work with extremes. So I guess if you want to work with extremes, you're using lightness light. If you want to work with, like, inside the, I think you need to combine these two. Or just pick proper color from this one. Okay, so let's just get back to what we had. So yeah, something like this. Again, it needs to be a little bit darker. Let's try this one. Okay, this seems pretty close. No, too light. Darker. Okay, this one almost not visible. Oh, this is the same one. You see, it's just disappearing. So good, we actually get right with the value. So 31 value. So this one. Whoa. Let's paint it. When we actually figure out what value needs to be, that means that we can't use these sliders anymore. And if we want to change something, we need to choose a saturation. So if it's too many blue, we need to drop down things and make it a little bit grayish. Probably will work the best. Again, we didn't, oh no, we actually changed. Okay, lightness slightly changing. Not good. No, really. So 3027. $27, 30. Still going to be visible. Yeah, this is something to actually understand properly. How I can work with this. So again, the only way to actually achieve this value, to make sure that lightness is going to be the same. So 21 or 25 here, 25 here. Oh, interesting. So whatever I'm going to do here, I need to make sure that lightness will stay 25. Okay, cool. Let's do that. So for instance, if I want to make it a little bit less present with color, then I'm just making this one 25. And it still looks darker for some reason. Because now, what's happening? How to control this? Okay, Need to figure out how to control this probably. Again, right now I'm trying to understand how to work from values to colors, like how to choose proper colors without changing the values that we already picked. So this is basically what I'm doing. Okay. Again, this one works like good in value, but I want to make it a little bit more grayish. And how I can do this without changing the value? Because ideally, if I'm going to put this one a slider lower, it's going to change value. It's going to make it lighter. We don't need that. I'm going to make it again 25. Okay, so yeah, I guess this thing is actually working. Now it's still darker. Why? Why are you darker? Oh, I think we need to drop the slider higher. So it means there's something in between. I think 26 works fine. It makes it slightly darker. You barely see it, but it's slightly darker. Like this area means that probably we need to go .26 10. Let's try this. And oh, come on, it's still going to. Okay, this slight difference is not going to be that important, I think, because you actually barely see this. I don't think that you actually will see this difference. It's visible, but you barely see this. So, just for the sake of showing you where this is. So, yeah. So right here is a little bit darker value than in here. Actually, right here. But we could work with it, I think. Yeah, let's choose this one then. Okay, so that means that if we're going to drop saturation, we need to make lightness a little bit higher. Would be cool if there was some type of algorithm that could work with it, like for instance that we could calculate this in our mind. For instance, if we're dropping, okay, let's just try. So 30 in here, we're dropping to 50, 15. Just assume that we're going to drop to 15. 15 less, and it makes the lightness higher. But it's not going to work because it makes things lighter. That means that we need to come on. Okay, 14. It was okay. Let's think. 30, 25. This is perfectly works for our value, but it doesn't work color-wise because it's too vivid. We still understand that this is a blue color, we need to make it less present. We need to go into grayish tones, but still make things look cool. By cool, I mean warm versus cool. So that means that if I'm going to drop it to 30, so now, or to 15, it gone from 25 to 27. And we need to drop it to 26. One back to make it work. Let's try. Yeah, this one works. Again, the reason why I'm doing this, I want to find some type of algorithm how you can control it. Again, I'm all about controlling creation process, and for me, I rather spend a lot of time to try to control this process and actually find a way to control it than just say screw it, I don't need that, and just paint. And so this one works. So let's just make a slight note, because I definitely want to compare these things and try. So we had 30 saturation, let's just make this thing saturation, a value, and again, I'm not considering hue because hue is not important here. Whatever we're going to do here, it's not going to make any changes in saturation, value, and lightness. We considered only with these three sliders, for the most part with these two, and a relationship of saturation and value to lightness and how to properly control them. Because again, when we're working with only values without any color to it, we could use either value slider or lightness slider. It doesn't matter, because these two, they're basically doing the same when we're working with only grayscale. But when we're actually adding color, now things starting to become strange. Value works differently, and now it's pretty hard to learn how to control it because it's strange. So that's why I'm kind of need this. So let's try to find a way to control it. So saturation, value, and lightness. Lightness. By the way, let's save. So saturation, value. So, and let's try to find some type of a algorithm in here. How could we control it? So with saturation 30, value 30, and lightness 25. For instance, these are and basic value 25 too. And this is black and white. Oh no, how to draw a percent properly. Black and white. And of course, black and white is just going to have 25, value 25, that's it. And of course lightness 25 too, which constantly going to be the same. Again, it might seem excessive, like unnecessary thing to do, but again, this is just how I operate. I want to analyze things and actually try to find something in it. This is how my brain works. I actually like this. I actually like when I'm doing this. Trying to figure out particular things. This is my strength, and at the same time this is my weakness, because it could get out of control pretty quickly and will make me spend a lot of time just on nothing for the most part. Or it could solve a super major problem. Okay, so these are our starting points. We have color, which consists in no, we actually have black and white. So if we are actually working from black and white to color, let's just change them. That's appropriate when we are actually working from black and white to color. Maybe it's going to work in the opposite way too, but I just want to state that I don't want to draw a percent. I'd rather copy it. To color. So, okay, this thing is from black and white to color, and when we're working from black and white to color, no, come on. Had to work on separate layer right away. Good. So yeah, when we're working from black and white to color, we have the information only about black and white, or about shades of gray and values that we actually depicted. By the way, let's make sure that it's understandable that we are working from value to color. So yeah, when we're working from black and white to color, usually it means that, okay, we have some type of value that we end up with, and we can't change this value. And when we are actually, and now we need to push it to color in controllable way. So I actually want to make this with different colors. So let's just finish painting this one. And after this, I actually want to see how things... Oh, actually it's still 25 in lightness. Okay, proper layer. Of course, there would be probably a faster way to do this. if I would work on a separate layer, I would just make everything the same color. Oh, wait a minute. These things are actually have different values to them. What the? Oh no. Oh no 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 no. I forgot that everything now on one layer. It's actually kind of a problem. The thing is that we need to be accurate to yeah, we need to be accurate with painting. And work only with zones that have the same value. Could take a little bit of time. So yeah, I think this color works pretty good for the floor. Of course, I maybe will make it more grayish. This is definitely something to think about. Maybe it could be a good idea to actually make it a little bit more grayish. If it's going to appear too colored. But this is definitely something to think about. For now, I want to fill this. Actually, that way it could be a good idea to work on a different layer. Because if I actually will decide to choose it, it's definitely will become a headache to repaint it again. Especially the fact that we're actually working with yeah, I think we need to work on a different layer though. The rest is going to be on a different layer. And this layer is going to be... Huh? I think it would be a good thing to work only on these type of colors that like pretty dominant in your illustration, because I guess when you start with the most dominant colors in terms of the areas that these colors are present in, because the floor area is one of the dominant area that actually affects almost every subject in our scene. That's why it's important, and that's why it's dominant. It's dominant in its size, but at the same time it's dominant in terms of how many subjects it's affecting. We don't need to be super careful though, because again, this thing is going to be repainted. It's just a sketch, but I want it to look right. So yeah, cool floor. which is definitely something that will work. It will definitely make things a little bit more vivid. The colors that we're going to use in Angry Birds, they're going to appear more vibrant. Maybe vivid wouldn't be the right word to use, maybe vibrant. Vibrant would be a better word. Oh, vibrant. Yeah, sorry if I'm super quiet. Again, I have a little bit of a headache, and at the same time I'm kind of into painting and focused on small things. And again, these colors definitely going to change with the lighting. This is just a local color that I'm putting right here. The same for our characters. This is not going to be their final color. It's just going to be the local color, which will be present only in the areas of health tone, everything seems right. Since now I'm actually working a different layer, which is a cooler thing. I think every part needs to, for now, create it on different layer, because if I want to change layers for instance colors, I want to have the ability to do it without redrawing things and repainting them. Okay, so this is layer for walls, since I kind of started with the walls. I think walls needs to be pretty much the same color but different value. Let's see how we could do this properly by using this thing. So now we have value 30. Using this so-called algorithm, which I'm basically testing and trying to figure out if it's going to work, we need to make lightness the same and choose and change saturation. So first, of course, we change in saturation. No, first we're actually choosing a particular color that we want to depict. But since we don't want to change color that much, I want to stay for the color the same. Maybe for walls it needs to be a little bit more into less deep green, or less deep blue, light blue, and again, it needs to be, so this thing needs to be 30 for this to work. Let's try. So, oh, come, 30. Okay, this is definitely going to be darker when we're going to put a filter on it. Yeah, darker means that we need to make it lighter. 30. Lighting slider needs to be 30. And it still doesn't work for some reason. But the problem is when I'm actually picking it, kind of works. 25. 30. Okay. Here, 25 here. It didn't change that much. It stayed the same. How to achieve this one? But again, changing value, I'm going to change lightness too. I think it's probably not a good idea to try to figure out this with the headache, but still going to try. Oh, I think I know how to do this. Let's actually try to use a filter mask and put levels in here and actually choose this value to the appropriate value. Needs to be lighter. Okay, works. And then turn off this one and see what color it is. It's actually a pretty good idea to do this. That way we can figure out the proper difference in how it works. So for some reason now it's 33 in here. No, I still don't get it. So I still don't know how to control it. It didn't give me any information. So, all right. Okay, but now what if I want to, so again, this is too vivid. I need to make saturation a little bit less present. Let's go to 10, not to 12. And if I'm going to put this one, of course, it's going to completely change. So if lightness needs to be 33, we could put it back to 33 and paint it. But it didn't change anything. Huh. Oh, wait a minute. It was 33. I put it back. It's 27. Difference in 15 and 10. I need to drop it to from 33 to actually to 30 or 31. Okay, this works. But still, no, actually it's lighter. Lighter. I need to make it even darker. 30. Lighter. 29. Yeah, probably 29. Kind of close. Actually, 28 works. Yeah, this is still uncontrollable. I don't know how to properly control it though. Seems strange. And the funny thing is, if I'm going to delete filter, it's going to ruin everything. I need to figure out how to work without filters. So it's super dark. I need to make it lighter. Too light. Too dark. 31. Lighter. 32. This is too light. So 33. Okay, 33 works, but still, how to control it? I guess at some point I need to make peace with the fact that some things in creation process you can't control, and I kind of know that, but still I want to control as much things as possible, and ideally by the way, we actually got too far from the original color. I actually want to make it like this. Instead it's like pretty closer to violet. We need to change. What? Oh, this one actually looks more greenish. Let's go with 10. Try this one. Okay, now we need to figure out how to properly make this value right. Again, putting the slider of lightness, or maybe not lightness. $10. Still will make things strange. Okay. Why are you changing? Why hues are changing? What's happening? I don't get why when you're working with I guess it's pretty hard to actually control this thing. Instead, let's just work with putting colors using eye, because I don't know. Okay, we're almost till the end, got to the at the end of the session, and we still didn't solve anything, which is super bad. So you tell me throughout the hour I just basically created color only for the floor? I think I actually need to spend time aside of the stream to solve this problem, because like I just need to understand the way to control a particular things and figure out how to work with this. So for instance, how to work properly from black and white to color. For instance, if we have a particular black and white values, we need to understand how to use this information to choose the controllable, so find how this value is going to relate to lightness, to value, and to saturation, and how to control it. So, or if there's a way to control it or not, because I want to explore this thing. If there is a way to control it, I will find it. If not, I guess we need to find another way to work with it. So yeah. Again, I think I will end the session, and I'm not going to stop this. I just will continue actually to try to figure out this. I'm just going to test things. I'm going to try to understand how this works, but for the most part, and of course next session we will definitely talk about this more, because again, I spent a lot of time of the session and kind of almost pointless. Ow. That was my jaw. It's yeah. Okay. So yeah, definitely we'll spend a little bit more time to actually try to understand how these things are working. So again, I will try to understand how, like, if we have 25 value, like the value of 25, how, without color, just in black and white, how to actually transition from this 25 value to color by keeping the base of 25, if there's a way to do that or not. Of course, the easiest way would be is to create another layer, so, or not another layer, just like use this one, put this layer into the into multiply mode. Okay, not multiply mode. Color. Do we have something with color in here? Okay, hue, saturation, lightness. We're going to go in here and then choose color. So now we kind of have the same thing, and the only thing that we need to choose is just color. Proper color. And actually it's going to create things that we actually need. It's going to ignore values. Yeah, you see it's ignoring values. This is the easiest way to do this. But it doesn't allow me to understand how to control it by myself without these algorithms. So but this is a pretty good way, I guess, to do that. If I'm not going to understand this, it's not a problem. Again, this one looks super green-ish. We don't need to look at green. I don't want to make it green. Of course, the cool thing about working with color mode, it just makes things a little bit easier. We could do the same with right here by choosing in hue, saturation and lightness color. That way our brush would behave properly. We wouldn't need to put color in here. We could choose the normal mode and just choose the brush mode. The last thing that I'm going to do before I end this session, I'm just going to put color for the walls. Just want to see how it's going to look. If it's going to look good, cool. If not, because for the most part, what I tried to do in this session is understand how this mode is working. Of course, I was aware of this mode, how to work like from black and white to color. You just putting values down and then just choosing particular colors with the layer in color mode. That way it preserves values. So if we're going to go into black and white, values stay the same, they're not changing. It preserves values and just adds a color information to it. No matter what you're choosing in here, it's just going to ignore values and present only the color information. But still, what I try to do is try to find a way to control it. without this mode, or like, because if you understand how these modes are working and you'll find a way to control it, it becomes much more versatile, because now you can change all these things in a controllable way. Because without understanding this mode and its algorithm, so like, I think I need to say what I mean by understanding this mode. So I don't mean that understanding this color mode is just to understand how this mode works. Like, it's clear that this mode, the color mode, it just basically preserves the value and puts down only color information. This is understandable. What I mean is, or it's clear by itself, but what I mean is, by control is to actually find a way to make it on your own without pulling the sliders on yourself, like on your own, without the help of this mode. And there's a way of doing this, of course. The problem, how? I think there's a way to to properly work with it, I guess. I don't know, it actually looks too colorish. So yeah, you see, this is the actual value that I chose, or actual color, but it ignores the value information below and instead just puts down only color, which is an awesome mod. And this mod actually is perfect for working from black and white to color. Not multiply, not overlay mode, but the color mode. But it works only if you actually break down the values and you 100% know that values are going to stay the same and you're not going to change them. Because if it's not the case, and you actually will change your values with your colors, then you should probably work with multiply or overlay, depending on how you want to approach it. But again, I want to solve all problems in black and white, and then I'm going to jump into colors, and I just need to find a way to do this naturally for me. Like, I need method that not only is going to be effective, but at the same time the method that my brain will accept. Because if I'm going to choose one method only because this method is effective and my brain is going to reject this method, I'm going to the only thing that I'm going to get out of it is quickly created work, but I'm not going to enjoy this work, because I'm going to work against my way of thinking. So sort of, I don't know. Efficiency is good, but it's even better if you're actually accepting the circumstances, or not circumstances, but I forgot the word. Second. Conditions, yeah. Efficiency is good, but only when you are willing to accept the conditions of this efficiency. What I mean by that is, like, there's a lot of ways to create work fast. Use 3D as a base, construct everything in 3D and just overpaint over 3D. There's actually a lot of ways to work efficient, but I think the thing that you need to understand for yourself is this way of efficiency is something that your brain is willing to accept again? Because if this method is efficient but it's everything that you can stand, you are hurting yourself. You're not doing good for your brain. And in the end, you're just not going to be happy about the way you actually made this. You're not going to enjoy the process, and it's just destructive. You know, I could do the same for this one. Choose a particular color and just put By the way, the thing is, I kind of wanted to make the ceiling a little bit more interesting, because at the sketch, which we actually turned off, I actually have the plane changes and direction changes for the planes. So this thing is not flat. It actually goes something like this. This is something that I guess I will explore on the final stage, where we're going to work with the final design. Colors. So the next thing is, of course, statues. I think there's no point of having this layer or filter mask, I mean, because for the most part we know how color mode is actually working. Let's create another layer. So what this layer is, this is our floor. What this is our walls. Don't forget to save. And this is our ceiling. Wait a minute. No, this is the ceiling. Nope. Where is the ceiling? Oh, floor and ceiling, they are... I hope this is right spelling. Let's check this out. Yes, it's the right spelling, but it's a different word. Yes. We need to choose a couple of... Ceiling. Ceiling. Okay, good. So this is floor and ceiling. This is our new layer that we're going to outputs, and this is our, let's just call it algorithm. Come on. I don't care if it's spelled right or wrong. Actually, it's spelled right. So the next color, the most probably crucial color, is color for the statues. Or let's just call it transformers. Because for the most part, everything else that we are not covered in terms of a color inside our picture plane is transformers. Although I didn't make a color for this part, but we could always make this one. I actually probably will keep it gray. I don't want to color it. But I'll think about that. So, again, putting this into the color mode. There's a lot of things that are open. We need to close them. They start to confuse. Favorites. Yeah, I'm going to work only with these, like with hue, saturation, and lightness, because for the most part I'm having hue, saturation, and lightness. Wait a minute. You tell me there was just color? Or let's just use favorites and color directly. Yes. For the most part, they are the same. And of course, we need to stay out of this one, because if we're going to put something in here, no, it actually I'm going to do the same. So, statues, I think, needs to be. Ideally, I would want to make them cool, but at the same time, I kind of want to add a little bit of warmth to them. So let's just try to put them in some type of a grayish tones. No, actually planned to create for them a little bit greenish tones. Let's try this strange thing. No, this is funny. Again, for this thing, the only thing is important is this, because like making this change is not going to change anything. Like this color is the same as this color, probably. Yeah. The only thing that kind of important here is this line from here to here. Basically saturation. Now the green doesn't work. By the way, what color they are actually in references? Let's see. Why wouldn't we use references? Oh, come on. Go back to folders. Oh. Actually, Cybertron is greenish. Yeah. Like, look at this. There's a lot of green-like things in here. These statues, for the most part, they're actually having earth tones to them, so I think, yeah, let's just do that. Earth tones. Of course, in different conditions it's different. I kind of need to consider the light itself too. I think it would be pretty cool if I actually made the light source greenish. Everything is going to be cool. Statues, I think I will make them a little bit earth tones, and then by adding a greenish light source from here, which is going to be our area light, and warm sunlight hitting our characters from the top, and warm light in here, it's actually going to be pretty cool, because walls actually will become a little bit different color. They will mix up in color, and then they will look greenish a bit. So not everything is going to be green. This could be a good idea. I don't know. I'm just put references on the other monitor and just going to see them again and again, just to try to decide what is going to work best. Since this is a Cybertron, by the way, I guess the difference between this, which doesn't look that green, but this light is kind of greenish, so everything around is kind of blue, but light is actually greenish. Maybe it's because they are under the water and it kind of creates this color. Yeah, I think I definitely want to make the color for statues something close to the Decepticons, and it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, let's choose this type of color for the statues. Kind of works. And then I will think about changing color for... No, greenish is not going to look good. I think everything needs to stay blue-ish. Statues are going to be earth tones. Not like here. Probably a little bit more close to this, and lighter. It doesn't matter again. Let's try this one. Too much. Okay, this one could work. Nope. Let's actually try greenish. Yeah, figuring out the local colors, definitely not easy thing to do. So let's think. There's a couple of lights that are going to affect statues. Slight effect is going to go from our primary light source, which is the thing on top. by the way, what it is. Yeah. So our primary light source is going to hit statues a little bit, so definitely they will, from this side, they will slightly be affected. From the back, it's going to be a greenish light. So we need to find something in between that will create pretty good contrast. So warm thing is going to hit statues from this side, and the cool thing is going to hit statues from this side. So cool green is going to hit them from the back, and cool and warm, probably warm orange, is going to hit them from the top. That means that so these are supposed light source colors in terms of the hue. So the sunlight and but it's still something to test, because yeah. How many minutes we left? 3 minutes or more? Yeah, about 3 minutes. Okay then, so that means that I need to find something in between, or either super green. This is no, purple is definitely not going to work. Maybe green will work. Again, it's pretty close to something that we could see on Earth. Pretty hard to work with green, as I heard from artists. Usually they try to avoid green in their work, and if they actually put in green, it's not like necessarily the green. We could create illusion of green by mixing particular colors. Let's just try it and see how it's going to work. If it's going to work. If not, of course, I always can change it. It's not a problem. It's still all going to depend how light sources are going to interact with it, because my light sources are actually going to have color to them, and most of the statues, they are going to actually pick up the color from the light. That means that they will definitely change color. Probably a good thing to know how these colors are going to work if we're going to mix them before putting them down. And again, it's all about subtleties. Like, everything in here is super subtle. If we're going to zoom out, we're not going to see difference for the most part. But this subtlety will make a difference in the end with the overall look. If something is subtle, it doesn't mean it's not important. It's even more important than something clear. And also by making them green. Wait a minute, I'm actually painting it in green or not? Again, it's pretty hard to see. Yeah, actually, yeah. And of course, I always can change the hue with filters if I'm not going to like them, because it's a separate layer. This is something that I definitely going to explore next session. We actually will try to end up with the final colors for it. The thing is though, the reason why I actually want to make statues a little bit greenish, because when we see something like this, we automatically feel like it's been a long time. Like, I don't know, this color actually usually screams that this is something old. This could suggest, and again, this is not going to be their main color, it's just local color which will completely change with current light conditions. Lights are just going to transform this color into a completely different variety of colors, and we barely going to see this local color. There's going to be a lot of reflective lights, and because this is the closest thing between like actually cool and warm, so it's like just like neutral color. We not necessarily can say that this is a warm color, but it's not cool either. It's in between. So Quintessa, I think Quintessa definitely needs to be a little bit different. So I will create a different layer for Quintessa, color for it. Let's try for Quintessa something opposite. Actually, Quintessa has a variety of colors to her. I think it could be a good idea to make her actually violet. That way she's going to stand out. Oh no, this is actually not Quintessa. It's a part of the table. Okay then. And kinda almost did. Forget about these piles. The only thing that doesn't have any color for now is swords, and that's kind of it. Yeah, for now let's just keep it like this. Still a lot of things to actually test. I'll just try to change so you see it's almost not visible at all, the color for the transformers. It's almost not present. It's super subtle because they are not main focus. They don't need to strike in their colors, and also, as I said before, most of the colors outside are going to be muted. That was the plan from the beginning. I didn't plan on making these colors super vibrant. They are muted, which is the whole point. It actually creates this feeling. And again, this thing is just need to have a little bit of this one. So, by the way, try to color it the same way. I think I could use the layer for Quintessa for it. One of the coolest ways to create a different feeling of the other planet is to change the color of area light. This will suggest that the atmosphere on this planet is different. Sun still is going to shine the same color, but since it's going to have the effect affected by the atmosphere, it slightly will change. And of course, when everything here is going to, it's definitely not going to be the case. But it will make things a little bit warmer. Okay, fine. For now, let's just keep it this way. So yeah, I guess for now this is it. The last thing that I'm going to do is actually forget to paint this part. This is considered the part of the Transformers. Actually paint it in green. I just want to separate in colors the parts that looks like Transformers and the backgrounds, because the problem with Transformers, I guess, sometimes that they could become a chameleon when it comes to the background. It's pretty similar. I still want to create a little bit of separation to it to make them stand out. And it's not that far, the separation in color. No, actually it's pretty far. It's almost... It could be like split complementaries. It's pretty further, but still, like, this is the main one and this is split complementary. Still kind of works. These are still one color. Just were one complementary, just divided with 2. Okay, for now let's just keep it this way, because again, so still don't know if I'm going to dive into actually trying to figure out how this works. Ideally I would want to do that, but since we kind of found a little bit easier way, or remembered about the easiest way to use just the color layer mode, kind of makes things a little bit easier, but still I will try to actually figure out how to control it, because but until then I could use these methods like without problem. Okay. The last thing that I want to do though is just crop it and save it. I kind of want to see how it looks outside of this. The main thing works. Our Angry Birds are our main focus and we clearly see this. Transformers are dark enough to not bring attention to them at all. This is the center of attention, everything else is tertiary, and our colors are actually supporting this, which is a good thing. But it's still a long way to go, because lighting will completely change everything. But although base will still stay the same, by having this information it actually benefits us. Cool. So yeah, on that note I guess we will end this session. It was a little bit larger than I thought would be, 15 minutes tops, but still for the most part I figured out the problem, at least find a way to work with from black and white to color. I guess ideally I would want to use this method. I would want to find some type of a more controlling method, but for now this one works. At least it works perfectly in terms of what I wanted to achieve from it. I wanted for values to stay the same and figure out how to add colors to these values, and this method with putting a layer into color mode is exactly the same, exactly that. It just adds color and ignores the value changes, which is the thing that I wanted. Ideally, of course, as I said 100 times already, I would need to find a way to control it like manually, because automatic algorithm is always a good thing with these color mode, but I kind of want to find a way to actually control it with sliders, because controlling with sliders would be a pretty cool thing. And by the way, this color mod, the fact that it preserves value and lightness for the most part and changes particular parts, I think it will help me to figure out how to work this problem manually. But the thing is, it's still going to have the same result, so probably not for everyone to spend time to achieve something manually when you already have the ability to achieve it automatically. I don't know, but I still will try. Okay, so yeah, on this note we'll definitely end the session. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, have a nice day or night, and see you in the next session. Bye bye.